Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this going. All right, well, thank you folks all for attending here today. Our topic of this webinar is going to be easy to implement tips to increase your close rate by up to 30% using programs like ArcSite. My name is Noah Lance. I'm sitting here with Julia Schroeder. I'm ArcSite's head of sales. Julia is a sales development representative. We brought her on back in January to kind of help grow the company. Quick notes here. We'll be sending this slide deck out to everyone after the meeting. If you are watching this on Facebook, you'll need to send us an email so we know who to send that to. I can be reached at noah@arcsite.co, or feel free to email Julia to request that. Would love to touch base with you folks at a later point. So a little bit about my background here as a speaker. I have about 12 years experience in sales. I started selling door-to-door alarm systems back in college, actually. That's how I put myself through there. And after I graduated, I started selling roofs and other home repair and improvement services after I graduated. I actually discovered ArcSite after discovering, well, I started working for ArcSite after I discovered the program on the job selling gutters. I kind of knew there was a need for a easy to use mobile CAD solution that would allow me to draw things out and price them out simultaneously. And that's how I stumbled into the program. A little bit about me. Love music, art, playing video games, and I am passionate about helping contractors use and adopt new technologies to improve their workflows and operate more efficiently. So first thing you can do to increase your close rate by up to 30%. This doesn't have anything to do with ArcSite, but it is incredibly important, and I don't see enough of our customers doing it. First off, track and improve your salespeople's performance using a CRM. Now, if you are part of a larger organization, you probably already know what a CRM is. However, a lot of our clients don't. So let's answer the first question, which is, what is a CRM? Well, a CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management or Contact Resource Management. Popular example of a CRM would be Salesforce. It's probably the largest CRM company I can certainly think of. Another one would be HubSpot. That's more popular in the software industry. If you work in the home improvement or repair industry, you might have heard names like 360 Estimate or Lead Perfection. Those are all examples of CRMs kind of combined with a field management software solution. Regardless, a CRM is a solution will help you find new customers, win their business, and keep them happy by organizing customer and prospect information in a way that helps you build stronger relationships with them and grow your business faster. CRM systems start by collecting a customer's contact information, website, email, telephone, social media, data, and more across multiple sources and channels. It may also automatically pull in other information, such as recent news about the company's activity, and can store personal details, such as a client's personal preferences on communications. The CRM tool helps organize this information to give you a complete record of individuals and companies overall, so you can better understand your relationship over time. Now, more than 91% of all companies with more than 11 employees use a CRM system, according to business.com. Now, if you are not using a CRM system, then the stats simply show that up to 79% of all leads you get from marketing will never be converted to sales. So a CRM system will help you keep track of any correspondence you've had with a customer. It will help you track things like a close-loss ratio, when to follow up, and it'll automate a lot of those tasks so your salespeople don't have to remember to do things or keep sloppy handwritten notes around your office. A CRM should really be the heart of your organization. And so because of that, it's really not something that you want to go quote unquote cheap on. I see a lot of companies make the mistake of thinking that they can get away with only spending, $100 maybe a month on a good CRM system for their team of salespeople, and they really couldn't be farther from the truth. You want to invest good money, training, and personnel into making sure your CRM is set up as the heart of your company. A great CRM is going to allow you to view closed loss percentages, track revenue, compare salespeople, automate email follow-up, calculate your cost per lead, and track workflows from beginning to end to help optimize every single lead you folks get in from marketing. A cheap CRM is only going to allow you to keep track of contacts and your follow-up. Now, a CRM should not be viewed as a burden or add-on to your employee's job. A lot of times when you start to integrate new technology like that, you always have those old timers who refuse to use it or really gripe about it. But I have to say, keeping track of won or lost, mandatory follow-up, inputting information into a CRM, that is a salesperson's job. If those folks will not adapt, then you got to find replacements who just will. And unfortunately, it is really that simple. The ultimate goal of a business is to be systemized and organized. That helps you produce the same results every time and plug new people into your workflow. Unfortunately, people who will not adapt to using a CRM simply need to find a less complicated line of work than sales. Now, to build a consistent machine, of course, it is management's job to work on your business and help define, develop, and perfect its systems. Basically, that is what a CRM allows you to do by tracking your employees' workflows. You can only improve or refine a process by first tracking it. That's why CRM is so important. An organized and systemized way of doing business will allow you to respond to changes, be consistent and improvable, and most importantly, with regards to growth, scale your operation by adding new employees and plugging them into existing workflows. Without a CRM, you can't do any of that. You're not going to close as many leads, and you're really going to curtail your growth. So can't harp on that enough. Please use a CRM if you are not. Here's some of the benefits of using one. First off, you're going to have better client relationships. The more you know and remember about clients or customers, the more your clients will know you care about them. This enables you to forge a much stronger connection and a deeper relationship with your clients. Personally, I use a CRM to keep track of my clients. I call them up every now and then just to see how they are, see if they need anything. That helps get referrals, frankly. A CRM will also give you an improved ability to cross-sell. The more you know about your clients' needs and wants, the better able you are to provide the solution to their next problem. For instance, you might make a note if you're out at someone's house that you're out there to sell gutters, but maybe you notice the roof isn't looking so good. Make a note about that in your CRM, schedule a task to follow up in a year, and come that time next year, you actually have a client all lined up to sell a new roof to. Third off, you're going to have increased team collaboration. Any notes you input into a CRM under an account or name are easily viewable by everybody working in your company. That just means, for instance, that if Julia puts in a note about a client that I need to maybe review later down the road, well, I can instantly access that, maybe even reference it in my next conversation with that person and help move that sale along to the next step. It'll also help improve efficiency in serving clients. Again, this is real simple. The more you know about clients, the better able you are to serve them. If everybody is using your CRM to record their customer interactions, and I mean every client interaction, that includes text messages, phone calls, emails, a stop by the office, then others are able to serve the client with the knowledge of what has been previously discussed with them. Very, very important. It also just makes working in the office a lot easier. That leads to greater staff satisfaction. The more knowledge your employees have, the more empowered and engaged they are. Having an accurate and up-to-date CRM that everyone uses and has access to helps employees solve client problems. And when you're helping people solve problems, you tend to be a little bit happier on the job. 6, you're going to have increased revenue and profitability. This kind of ties into the topic of today's webinar. Once everyone learns and uses the CRM, productivity increases, sales cycles decrease, and you have the ability to provide additional products and services to your prospects and your customers. Last but not least, of course, you have cost savings. Now, at the start, when you first purchase a CRM and you're having to train everybody on how to use it, the software can seem expensive and time-consuming. But over time, the benefits far outweigh the costs. Members of a sales team are able to better schedule meetings with prospects in the same geographic area, for instance. And client service reps are better able to help resolve a client's concern. You now have a central client and prospect database that everybody can access. Without a CRM, guys, you're going to spend hours and hours trying to find information like that. With a CRM, it's available with one click of your finger. Now, I've included a list of some of the more popular CRMs here. I don't have a particular recommendation here, as every business runs a little bit differently and will have different priorities or values. So we really need to emphasize that a CRM is something that you should spend some time seriously looking at and examining. Now, if you are the owner of a home improvement or foundation repair company or something along those lines, you may not have that time yourself. If that is the case, then it's very important to delegate or hire that task out to somebody you know or trust. Now we should really touch on this, that ArcSite, the software that we sell, and hopefully you're interested in if you're watching this webinar, is not a CRM, but it can be easily used in conjunction with one to adapt to your sales process. Everything you create in ArcSite can be exported out as a PDF or PNG file. That just means it's easily uploaded into an account, either from the desktop cloud account or from the app itself. If you have any questions on how to do that, just reach out to us and we can help guide you through that process. Now, the second thing you can do to help improve your close rate is to clearly communicate your scope of work using a mobile CAD system. That is what we sell. Now, a lot of folks who find our program really don't even know what CAD is at first. I know when I first found ArcSite, I couldn't have told you what CAD stood for. So we have a helpful little definition here. From Wikipedia, computer-aided design is the use of computers to aid in the creation, modification, analysis, or optimization of a design. CAD software is used to increase the productivity of the designer, improve the quality of a design, improve communications through documentation, that's really what ArcSite is for, and to create a database for manufacturing. There's a second definition from Autodesk there. I don't really need to touch on it too much. The point here is that computer-aided design, even if you don't quite know it or haven't really thought of it before, CAD has improved everybody's life in the modern world. Everything you see, from the computer you are watching this to the table you're sitting at, maybe the building you're in, if it was built in the last 60 or 80, actually probably, yeah, about the last 80 years, it was probably designed on a CAD program. CAD actually first originally came out in 1957 when Dr. Patrick J. Hanratty developed Pronto. That was the first commercial numerical control programming system. In 1960, Ivan Sutherland's MIT's Lincoln Laboratory created Sketchpad, which demonstrated the basic principles and feasibility of computer technical drawing. Now, obviously, back in those days, those computers used to take up entire rooms, as you can see by that middle picture. Over time, of course, we were able to migrate that kind of platform over to a desktop or home device, or even for use in a practical office. But now, with new innovations in technology, CAD software can be simply used on an iPad. Anybody can access CAD design software. You do not need to be an architect or engineer to use it. And that is really kind of where ArcSite can step in. Now, if you are a salesperson selling a home improvement product or service, odds are that most of your competition is going to be turning in a document kind of like this. This is actually something that we unfortunately pulled from one of our clients a couple years back. We've just kind of saved it because it really drives home the point of our program. This particular person sells foundation repair services, and he is tunneling under one side of the house and installing, looks like a couple trenches here. So this is actually what this person does, or used to do kind of for a living. He would just kind of draw these up inside someone's house and give it to them. You know, if I was this guy's client, I'd probably be asking myself, do I really want this person working on my house? This drawing looks sloppy. It's hard to read. On top of that, from an installation and sales perspective, this is a physical document. It's written on a piece of paper. You can't back it up, share it, or edit it later without finding it first. And unless you photograph it and email it somewhere else, you certainly can't search for it. And so is this really how you want to represent your company? I would argue no. Compare that original drawing to a CAD design. This drawing is to scale. All the measurements are very clearly indicated. No room for confusion about how long a wall is. A legend at the bottom is clearly visible and explains what is on the drawing. And this is a digital file that can be pulled up immediately and modified as needed. It's exportable in different CAD formats from ArcSite for use in other programs. And of course, the best part about it is you can do all this on the go inside someone's house. Customers, and I gotta say, I know this from experience, Customers typically expect contractors, inspectors, etc., to be stuck in the Stone Age. And that, unfortunately, is what a lot of them are. So you have a real opportunity to set yourself apart from the competition, position yourself as an expert in your field by walking in with an iPad and creating a beautiful CAD drawing while you're walking around the house with a customer. Demonstrate your technical sophistication by drawing a professional CAD design on the go. You don't even need to hire it out anymore. You can just use your hands, an iPad to draw a perfect CAD design on the fly. Now here's some benefits of using CAD as part of your sales process. First off, there's a significant amount of time savings involved by initially creating a CAD design while you're in the field. I can elaborate that a little bit. If you've worked in this industry for a while, you probably know what I'm talking about. What most people do from a sales perspective when they're drawing is they go around, they do an initial set of measurements, they draw it up very crudely on the back of a clipboard or something along those lines. After they're done, they take that initial set of measurements, they sit in their car, redraw everything out to make it look a little bit nicer. Maybe they put it on a contract on carbon paper, and then they show that to the customer. I gotta say, that can take 20, maybe even 30 minutes. If you can use mobile CAD, you can completely eliminate that redundancy as you're walking around by drawing it up right the first time. The second thing is you can reduce and even eliminate a lot of human error and redundancy. If you're using a sloppy drawing and you're submitting that to the customer and the installers, odds are those people are going to have different ideas of how the work is meant to be installed. If you're using a CAD design with accurate measurements, maybe you're even using photos, we'll touch on that a bit later in the presentation, there's no room for confusion. That's going to make your installation process go smoother. It's also going to help reduce return trips to job sites. That all leads to higher profit margins, a higher close rate, happier customers, and ultimately more money in your pocket. The next thing a program like ArcSite can help you do is that you can generate information as you draw. Because we're using CAD design principles with ArcSite, everything has the number attached to it. So I might draw a line that's, say, 10 feet wide. Well, the program knows that is 10 feet, and now it can use that distance to maybe help calculate a cost or what kind of material I need to bring out for whatever that line represents. So you can do things like material takeoff, pricing, and even proposal generation while you're simply walking around a house. Of course, CAD design is going to have professional output every single time. That sounds a little bit self-explanatory, but it's actually really worth emphasizing. If you have a large sales team, say, and I would define large by 4 or more, you've probably noticed that everyone's hand drawings come back looking a little bit different. I always like to say you have your Michelangelos who are great at drawing, and then you have your Picassos where you have absolutely no idea of what you're looking at. The drawings just come back in all different shapes, sizes, and qualities. If you funnel everybody through the same software, you're going to have clear, accurate drawings every single time. And not just the drawing, we're even talking your pricing. If you have a guy that's going out there pricing things 20% too low consistently, just because he's bad at math, a program like ArcSite can help automate that process. So all he has to do is draw a picture and everything prices itself out. Very, very useful. The last benefit of using a CAD system in your sales process is that now CAD systems are very, very simple to learn and use. Specifically, ArcSite obviously is. So you're not going to have any issues teaching your folks how to use our system. I promise you that. We work with companies of all different shapes and sizes, from mom and pop shops that maybe, again, do gutters or maybe a specific type of work, to companies like B-Dry or Olshan, where they have 50 or more sales reps, guys from ages from 20 to in their 70s, and they can all use ArcSite, and they can use it quite well. The next benefit here, and it's not really a benefit, it's more of an expectation, is that CAD is becoming the industry standard for commercial and residential contractors. Now, it is a slow kind of movement in that direction, but I'm seeing more and more home improvement companies use systems like ours as part of their sales presentation. So if you're not using this type of technology right now, you're really going to be left behind. So a benefit of using it is that you can keep pace with your competition, and in a lot of cases, really help exceed what everyone else is doing. So you can put yourself at a higher level than most other folks. That's all going to help increase your close rate significantly. The next thing you can do to help increase your close rate is to use photos to create a series of soft closes and a shared set of expectations between your salesperson, the customer, and the installer. For those of you who don't know, a soft close is basically asking a question like, do you want this over here, to basically get a yes from the customer, so they open themselves up more psychologically to doing business with you and saying yes to the overall sale. Now, photos are very, very useful for a soft close. And ArcSite's location-based photo tool is specifically very, very useful for that. Our location-based photo tool allows you to basically drop little camera icons around the drawing that help you take a picture from that spot relative to your site plan. So in this instance, I have a little photo icon on the left at the bottom of the drawing. That's like the front of the house. I took a photo from that position to give everybody kind of a good view of what people are looking at. Because you can look at a CAD design, but practically speaking, that can only go so far. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So having location-based photos allows you to kind of document and keep track of different things around the house and actually put a picture to it. We're going to go more into that at the end of the presentation. I have included some examples here. So in this specific example, you might be a basement waterproofer and you notice that there is a lot of water coming in at a specific corner. So you want to take a picture of that to document the problem. And then you can use some of our markup tools to actually draw where you would be installing your solution. So in this case, we're installing a perimeter drain around that corner that's going to take all that water and divert it elsewhere around the house. So kind of using this sales principle, you could show this photo to the client and ask them, hey, did you know you have water coming in here? And they might say yes or no. They're probably going to say yes if they called you out there. But you could kind of add on to that, well, what we're going to do, or what I would propose we do, is that we install a perimeter drain along this red line that I've marked up here and install a perimeter drain there. How does that sound to you? Odds are the customer is just going to say yes, or maybe ask for more feedback. If they say yes, you have successfully soft closed that individual. And on top of that, you've also created a document that you can share with your installers. So they know they need to install a perimeter drain in this corner, and they know what it's going to look like, what the work environment is like, what tools they need to bring out, things they need to be aware of. So overall, creating that shared set of expectations is very, very valuable. When I was selling gutters, I used to do this quite a bit. I would take these location-based photos and actually mark up where we would be installing the system. So what other gutter companies would do is they might not even submit a drawing, or they would show everything from the top down. Well, you don't look at your gutter system from the top down. You're walking around the house and you're seeing all those ugly downspouts going down the property. So what I did was, and I would just draw in using the markup tool where the downspouts would go, and people absolutely loved that. They would know exactly how it would look before it would go up, and we could make changes to it as required before I ever sent the installers out there, rather than having to reinstall the downspout because maybe it didn't look like what they had in mind before the installers showed up. So location-based photos are really, really valuable. Great soft close tool you can use there to help increase your close ratio. And just wonderful to use for the installers. People really like that. The fourth thing you can do here to increase your close ratio is leave an estimate behind on your first visit to your customer's property, your house. Now, obviously with coronavirus going around, a lot of people are still emailing estimates. Even before coronavirus came around, I would say most contractors and salespeople get a little lazy. They tend to email it out after the fact rather than leaving a proposal behind with the customer. Big, big mistake. Emails do not always reach your prospect. In my personal experience, selling a lot of different products in people's houses, I would have to say somewhere between 10 to 20% of emails just don't reach the consumer. That's due to a lot of different reasons. That can be due to emails ending up in spam, people giving you the wrong email accidentally, maybe on purpose. According to ActiveCampaign, CRM we use, roughly 15 to 30% of emails do not reach the consumer from businesses. So, practically speaking, that's a big loss. If you hand your salespeople 10 leads, they send bids out to via email to each one of them. They're really only talking to 7 people. Only 7 people really have a good idea of what you're offering. So instead of selling to 10 people, you're really only selling to 7. So, right away, you can increase your close ratio substantially just by mandating that your salespeople leave an accurate bid behind on site. They don't have to do it while they're walking around the house. If the customer doesn't want them inside the house, maybe they can print it off using a mobile printer and hang it on the door or tuck it in the mailbox. Regardless, you have to make sure that your salespeople are always leaving an estimate behind. If you don't do that, on top of not everybody getting that estimate to begin with, you might have salespeople that end up with a backlog of estimates that still need to be written. Or, they can be missing information that they don't know they're missing. And so they have to either guess what a measurement was or go back next time they're in the area. Before we integrated ArcSite into our workflow at the gutter company, I would say 1 out of every 20 jobs I put a number on, I had to visit a second time to collect a measurement. If we'd been using a CAD program and leaving estimates behind right away, that wouldn't have been an issue. Now, the next thing that will happen if you email estimates is that it increases the sales cycle length. So you visit someone's house, maybe you send them what the bid's going to be in about 1 or 2 days. Well, right away, you've increased your sales cycle by 1 or 2 days. That might not sound like a whole lot, but I got to say, there's a lot of companies out there that are very, very aggressive. They price things out at the kitchen table. They put people through a presentation and ask for the business right away. If you're not following a similar process like that, you are ceding business to more aggressive competitors. Another thing that's wrong with emailing an estimate is that it doesn't give your customer a chance to ask questions while the salesperson is present. A lot of times people get a piece of paper back with a scope of work, price, place to sign, and they just don't know what they're looking at. So they don't do anything. They'd rather just kind of, sit back and let the problem lie rather than get into something that they don't fully understand. If you're emailing an estimate without really getting any feedback from a customer right away, giving them a chance to ask questions, you're at the very least creating unnecessary follow-up, phone calls, etc. But you're really probably just losing the sale. So I think if you make a process, if you mandate that your salespeople leave an estimate behind on their first visit, right away, you're probably going to see an increase in your close rate of 5 to 10%, just doing that by itself. Now, the reason why this doesn't always get done is that it takes time to create an estimate, right? And so if you have 5 or 10 houses you got to visit in a day, you might not have time just to knock all those out while you're sitting in the customer's driveway. So the solution to that is to use an estimate tool that lets your reps quickly create accurate bids on site. We have an awesome solution that we think you'll really enjoy using. You can use our software to create powerful estimates on your first sales call through simply drawing a picture. Here's how you do it, folks. First off, once you're inside a drawing, you open up products. That is above the select tool on the right. It's a little arrow pointing to the left. That will open up a fully customizable list of products and services that your company offers that your salespeople can simply draw in. Now, your first time opening up products, guys, this is going to be completely empty. They're not going to have anything in there unless you've created some to begin with. So if you have questions on how to create this, please reach out to us. We will either import in an example product library for you, or we will actually sit down and create some products with you so you can use ArcSite in this type of workflow. In any case, you just select what you want to draw. In this case, let's say it's a perimeter drain, and then you just draw that service in. And hope you folks enjoy my picture of a hand there on the right. But you just place your finger on the screen, drag down, draw a line. That line represents that particular type of service. And then once you are all done with your drawing, ArcSite will tally and keep track of everything you've drawn here and create a report. This is going to have all your pricing set up to your specifications, and you can modify all this as needed, add other costs, and even create a signable customer proposal you can print off and leave with a client on your very first visit. It looks something like this, folks. This entire document was created just by using ArcSite and drawing a picture. You can see here this document is going to have your logo, contact information, company name, a line item report with descriptions describing what everything's going to look like. The drawing is going to have a legend on it indicating what all these different line types and shapes stand for. It's even got a place to sign at the bottom. So you do all that just by creating a drawing. Maybe takes 5 minutes, eliminates any redundancy or math that your salespeople have to do. You know, it's so simple, even a monkey could do it. So that all being said, folks, I'm going to show you how to do that in a live demonstration. So let me go ahead and boot up my iPad here, and then we will get that cooking. 1 second. All right, stop this share, and we are going to open up my iPad. All right, and Julia, can you see my iPad here?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. All right, guys. So the first thing you're going to do to help create a proposal in ArcSite is enter in some client information. I've already done that because that's boring and you probably already know how to do that. So let's go ahead and draw out a house together here. I'm going to draw a couple lines to represent some walls using segment mode. And just to verify, folks, and I'm going to start my video just to kind of prove here real quick. I am using my finger to do all this. So I'm not going to be using a mouse or keyboard or anything like that. I'm just going to be using my hand to quickly draw some measurements out. The idea being that you can walk around somebody's house and create a CAD design and estimate really at the same time. It's beautiful. So let's back up here a little bit. So as I draw, you can see that those measurements show up on screen. In this case, I have a line that's 26 feet long. I can tap that, change the dimension as required, and then just kind of keep drawing around here. All right, so we have successfully drawn out really the perimeter of a house. If you're using ArcSite the way I just recommended, you might be taking photos of problem areas using the location-based photo tool. So if I tap on the right over here, maybe I see an issue with a series of windows on that back wall. Well, I can quickly just snap a photo of that. That's the view from Grand Rapids, Michigan, in case you're wondering. And I can move this around, maybe even change the angle of it to indicate exactly what I was looking at when I took that particular photo. Then I can use the shape tool to quickly add some shapes to help flesh this drawing out. Shapes are used to quickly add visual information without having to draw everything out by hand every single time. As you can imagine, drawing a tree like this might take a little bit of time if I try to draw each individual line. And maybe I throw in a couple doors here so people know how to get in and out. So I'll put a little one in the front here, maybe one going in the back, and a little side entrance might be nice, right? And then we can label this kind of as required. So we'll just call this the house. Actually, we'll call it the basement. Let's say we're a foundation repair company. Cool. So the next thing you're going to do after you've created your base CAD design is go ahead and just select everything, go to show dimensions. That's going to bring everything up to the front of the screen. Maybe we move some of this stuff around to make it look real nice. And the next thing we're going to do is open up products here to the right, and we are going to draw in our scope of work for the customer. So what I'm going to do in this instance is say we're doing some perimeter drains along this rear wall on the right one, and I need to price it out. Well, I'm going to select the quick flow drain system from the right, place my finger on the screen, and then just draw in wherever I'm going to be placing that service. And let's go ahead and add some other things to this job. Let's say we're doing some crack repair, for instance. I would select crack repair from products, move the shape into position. After I've dropped it wherever that crack is, I'm going to go to Attributes, define an injection type, maybe how big the crack is, save and close when I'm all done. And yeah, let's go ahead and add some piers maybe to this particular one. So we'll add some helical piers on the outside, just like so. And I really want to emphasize that all this stuff to the right, folks, that's all fully customizable to your company. These are all just shapes, areas, and line types. Basically, they're labels and symbols. We can build that out specifically for your company, just so you know you're not locked into using these shapes at all. These products can also be areas, by the way. So let's say I'm doing some vapor barrier in a specific part of this house. I can draw that in, and as I draw, ArcSite will actually calculate that square footage for me. And then I can tap on that new product, go to Attributes, and then select like what type we're going to be installing in that area. All right. So, right there, I'd say that maybe took me about 2 minutes. Obviously, I am pretty proficient with the program, but I can teach anybody how to get this good in about an hour. So you can create a professional CAD design just by, drawing things out. When you're all done, you go to Takeoff and Estimate at the top, click Create Legend Table. It'll drop in a live product legend that shows people what all these symbols and shapes stand for. Now, this is live, which means if I add, say, a dehumidifier onto the drawing, move it to wherever I'm going to be installing it, and then refresh the legend, it's going to update with that new shape type. A really cool feature. We just introduced that 2 months ago. Now, after I'm done, I go to Takeoff and Estimate. Here, I can modify any of this pricing as needed, but as you can see, it adds everything up based on the drawing and tallies it up right here. So we can adjust this pricing as required, maybe add non-visual products like a city permit, for instance, things we have to charge for but don't necessarily have to draw. Then we can go to additional data, attach some forms like warranties or brochures. These are just PDFs, guys. They can be whatever you want. We see a lot of people using it for things like proof of insurance and terms and conditions, for instance. Then I can go to the right, customize payment information. Let's say I'm going to charge about $6,000 down before we do the job for a deposit, the rest due upon the day of completion. Once I'm all done doing all this, guys, I hit the export button at the top right, go to export customer proposal. You do need an internet connection for this step to work. But what ArcSite is going to do is it's going to upload all this information that we drew today onto the cloud. It's going to compile it onto a report with my logo and company information. That is a PDF document. And then it's going to send that back to the iPad. And this is the actual proposal you leave behind with the client. This is what it looks like. So Aqualock is one of our clients that recently signed on. Great company out of Oregon, looks like. But yeah, you can see client info populates over here. Your sales guy information is going to populate here. Here's a line item report complete with descriptions. And of course, what the job's going to cost. The next page is going to have that beautiful CAD design. It's going to have that legend. So you're going to have a customer look at this and he's going to say, oh, okay. The quick flow is represented by this dotted and dashed orange line. And they can refer to the line item report to get a description of what that is. Okay. Quick flow is a proprietary French drain system. All right. So between the CAD design and line item report and the descriptions included, people are going to know exactly what you're going to be doing on the house. It's beautiful. We go to the next page. We got a place for the customer to sign here, of course. Next page is going to have things like terms and conditions of service, warranty information, any brochures you want attached, of course. And guys, this is a PDF document. So if we hit this export button here at the top right, I can print this off from a mobile printer, hand it to a client, and I am in and out of that house in 5 minutes, and I'm on to the very next lead if I need to. Or I can sit down and actually, do a little bit of a presentation if that's what your company is all about. I can also upload this up to whatever CRM I'm using. So there's a copy of it backed up somewhere else. And let's say I still want to email it because the client's not at home. Well, I can just hit export, email, and then type in that client's information here, and it's going to be emailed directly to them, all from the iPad. So wonderful, wonderful system that we've developed here. A lot of home improvement companies are using this very successfully in their sales process and seeing a lot of fantastic results. So we would love to see some more people sign up and kind of get going with it. We think it's a great tool that honestly everybody can use.